Hello, this is the first video in a series that I'm going to do on basic emergency preparedness and really trying to simplify it down and make it easy for people to understand and have a place to start in their own life and something that works for you and your family. Because I see a lot of people on social media and I talk with a lot of people who they feel a need to be more prepared and don't know where to start. So that's what we're going to do with this. And hopefully in a very quick and get right to the point, hopefully give you something that you can start using immediately. And so let's start with this idea as what is an emergency? Right there, that's the big thing. You start thinking of these events and they become pretty big. There's lots of moving parts and overlapping threats and concerns. And that's what makes it very difficult to plan for. So let's simplify that. Rather than thinking of an emergency, the way I define emergency, that I think may be different than what a lot of people are thinking of, is an emergency is nothing more than a rapid change in your circumstances that may affect you badly. Doesn't mean that it's going to, just that it may. So let me say that again. An emergency is simply a rapid change in your circumstances that may affect you badly. That may be something that is just affects you, your family, your neighborhood, your community, or the entire nation or the entire world. And so I think it's rather than thinking of events, again, think of the rapid change in your circumstances and what some of these events, rather than thinking of these big events, think of there's not the event that you're planning for or preparing for. It's not that we're preparing for an earthquake or a tornado or a hurricane or a terrorist attack, whatever it may be. What we're preparing for is the problem or the set of problems that will come out of that event. Now, those problems, and this is why it's very important to have your own emergency plans and things that work for you, is because what might be a problem for me isn't a problem for you, and vice versa. And so the things that work for me may not work for you. The things that work for you may not work for me. So what we have to do to preparedness is nothing more than anticipating a problem and solving it ahead of time so that you avoid the problem altogether, or you have a solution readily available to implement as soon as that problem arises. That's it. That's all preparedness is. Anticipate a problem, solve it before it happens. Done. That's it. You're prepared. It's really that simple. And so when you start thinking about, if you find yourself getting lost kind of in this no man's land of events and what ifs, start breaking it down and saying, what problems might that cause for me and my family? And then start solving those problems. And don't stop with just thinking about it. You actually have to implement those solutions. And, whether it's gather food and equipment or resources and things like that, or move things around and stage things, whatever it is, you actually have to take the actions. But preparedness, that's all that it is anticipating the problems. So stop thinking about events and start, you do have to kind of think about the event, but then what are the problems that you may face? And then solve those problems ahead of time. And that's it. Another thing to think about is start with the small things. Don't think of the big zombie apocalypse, world ending, and how am I going to do this and that, because there's too many problems there to begin working with. And there's so many overlapping what ifs that begin more with the small and the likely, and then work from the known to the unknown. Start off with something like a power outage of 24 hours just in your local area, and work up from there. And then start thinking, say natural disaster in my area. What problems would that cause? What problems would a terrorist attack potentially cause to me and my family? And start thinking of those problems and solving those problems, and you will be more prepared when you actually implement those solutions. So that's it. that's all that emergency preparedness is anticipating and preparing and solving problems before they happen. So I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that, as I've talked to other people, they have found these ideas to be helpful and kind of more empowering. Because when you start solving those problems, you become, instead of feeling the fear of being unprepared, you start realizing that you are prepared, and you move from living in fear to having this more of an empowered or freedom in your life. And so I hope that that's something that is helpful to you. And like I said, this is just the beginning of an entire, very in-depth series that I'm going to do on emergency preparedness. In fact, I want to call it total preparedness, because I have an entire outline of topics that will be coming up, and I hope to do the same thing with each topic, is just break it down and simplify it and give you steps that you can easily implement, or actions that you can take to be more prepared and be more ready for whatever life throws at you. So as I get more episodes, I'll post them to social media and to YouTube and these different places. So give me your comments as we go along, questions that you have. Probably the questions you have, I hope I already have plans on covering, but if not, I'll definitely add those into what I got planned. So hopefully, there's a lot more to come, and hopefully it'll be something that we can all benefit from and be just more ready for anything that might happen to us.